Have you ever looked at your bank account at the end of the month and felt that quiet, heavy feeling? You worked, you showed up, you gave your time, and somehow the money is gone. Not because you bought something crazy, not because you were careless, just gone. Bills, food, rent, small things, and then zero again. If that feeling is familiar, you are not alone. Most people live this way. Most people work their whole lives and never feel financially free. Not because they are lazy, not because they are not smart, but because nobody ever taught them how money actually works. This lesson is for English learners who want more than words. It is for your wallet, your future, and your freedom. Today I am going to give you 10 habits. 10 specific practical habits that build real wealth over time. Not get-rich-quick tricks, not secrets that only rich people know. Just 10 habits that anyone can start at any income level at any age. But here is the thing I want you to remember before we begin. You do not need all 10 today. You do not need to change your whole life this week. You just need to start one. Just one habit, one small shift. Because here is what I have learned, and what every wealthy person I have ever studied has shown. Wealth is not an event. It is a habit. Say that again. Wealth is not an event. It is a habit. Most people wait for the big moment, the promotion, the bonus, the lucky break. But wealth does not arrive like a package at the door. It is built slowly, quietly, by people who do small things right every single day. Nobody taught you this. That is not your fault. Schools did not teach it. Your parents probably did not teach it either, because nobody taught them. But here is what I need you to hear. Staying in the dark is not acceptable anymore. Not when the information is right here. Not when the habits are this simple. So let us begin. 10 habits. Start with 1. Change everything. Habit 1. Pay yourself first. Let me ask you a question. When you get paid, what is the first thing you do with your money? Most people pay their rent. They pay their phone bill. They buy food. They handle their expenses. And then at the end of the month, if there is anything left, they think about saving it. That is the mistake. That single habit, or lack of habit, is why most people never build wealth. Here is the rule that changes everything. Pay yourself first. Before the rent, before the bills, before the groceries. Before anything else, the first payment you make is to your own future. You take a percentage of your income and you put it away. You do not touch it. You move it out of sight, out of reach, and out of your daily decisions. Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest people in history, has talked about this his entire life. He did not wait until he was rich to start saving. He saved first when he had almost nothing. He bought his first stock at 11 years old with money he had saved. He bought his first piece of property at 14 with money he had saved. He did not wait to earn more. He started with what he had. This is the difference that separates people who build wealth from people who do not. Broke people spend first, then save whatever is left. Rich people save first, then spend whatever is left. Read that again. The order is everything. When you save what is left, there is never anything left. Life always fills the space. A new expense appears, something breaks, something tempts you, and the money disappears. But when you save first, your spending adjusts. You adapt. Humans are remarkably good at living on what they have. The key is to decide before temptation arrives that a part of your income belongs to your future. How much should you save? Start with 10%. If that feels impossible, start with 5. If 5 feels impossible, start with 1. The number is not the point right now. The habit is the point. Set it up automatically. Talk to your bank. Set a transfer that happens the day you get paid. Before you see the money, it is already moved. That is the method. Remove the decision. Remove the need for willpower. Make it mechanical. Because willpower runs out. Systems do not. Every month you do this, you are sending one clear message. My future matters more than my comfort today. Wealth is not an event, it is a habit. And this is habit 1. Habit 2. Track every dollar. Imagine 2 people, same job, same salary, same city. After 5 years, one of them has savings, no debt, and a small investment account growing in the background. The other has nothing. Actually, not nothing. The other has stress, credit card debt, a heavy, uncomfortable feeling every time money comes up in conversation. What is the difference? One of them knows exactly where their money goes. The other has a rough idea. That is it. That is the whole difference. You cannot manage what you do not measure. This is true in business. It is true in fitness, and it is absolutely true in personal finance. If you do not know where your money is going, you cannot make better decisions. You are flying without information. And flying without information always ends the same way. Research shows that people often underestimate their monthly spending by 20 to 30%. If you earn $1,000 a month, you may be losing hundreds of dollars every month without knowing it. Over 10 years, that number invested could change your life. Instead, it disappeared into untracked spending. Rich people know exactly where every dollar goes, not roughly, exactly. This does not mean they stress about every small purchase. It means they are aware. Awareness is the foundation of control. And control is the foundation of wealth. So how do you start? It is simple. For 1 month, write down everything you spend. Everything. A coffee, a ride, a snack. Write it down. Use a notebook. Use your phone. Use any app that makes it easy. The tool does not matter. The habit does. At the end of the month, look at what you wrote. Do not judge yourself. Just look. You will be surprised. Almost everyone is. There will be one category where money went that you did not expect. Maybe food delivery. Maybe forgotten subscriptions. Maybe small purchases that added up to a big number. That surprise is the gift. That moment of seeing clearly is the beginning of real change. Because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And once you cannot unsee it, you start making different choices. Not because someone told you to, but because the numbers are there, and numbers do not lie. Broke people have a rough idea where their money goes. Rich people know exactly. Track every dollar. Just for 1 month, see what you find. That is the beginning of financial intelligence. Habit 3. Spend less than you earn. This habit sounds obvious. Most people hear it, nod, and then go home and spend everything they earn. So let me say it directly. The gap between what you earn and what you spend is where wealth lives. That gap is the seed. Everything else, the investing, the saving, the building, all of it grows from that gap. No gap, no wealth. Simple, unforgiving. Most people focus on income. They think the answer is to earn more. Earning more helps. We will talk about that later. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Most people who earn more spend more. The raise comes, and so does the new car. The promotion arrives, and so does the bigger apartment. The bonus lands, and within weeks, it is gone. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it is one of the most dangerous forces working against your financial future. It does not feel like a problem. It feels like reward. You worked hard. You earned more. You deserve better things. Maybe you do, but the question is not whether you deserve better things. The question is whether buying them now is worth your future freedom. Here is something that might surprise you. Research on ordinary millionaires, not celebrities or tech founders, but people who quietly built wealth over decades, shows the same pattern again and again. They live below their means. They drive used cars. They cook at home. They wear simple clothes. Their neighbors often do not know they are wealthy, because they never confused looking rich with being rich. Rich people look boring. Broke people look rich. Read that line slowly. So what does this habit look like in practice? Every time your income increases, make a rule. At least half of the increase goes to savings or investment. Not all of it. Enjoy some of it. But half of every raise, every bonus, every extra income goes forward, not into a bigger lifestyle. This is how the gap grows. Not by suffering, not by living in misery, but by being intentional, by deciding in advance that your future self deserves a share of every improvement. And here is what happens when you protect that gap for years. Compound growth does the heavy lifting. Your money earns money, slowly at first, then faster. Then one day, the gap you protected for years becomes something that protects you. Spend less than you earn. Protect the gap. Every month, without exception. Quiet. Powerful. The engine underneath every real wealth story you have ever heard. Habit 4. Build your emergency fund. Let me paint two pictures. Person A wakes up and their car will not start. They need it to get to work. The repair costs $400. They open their bank app. $420 left until payday 11 days away. They put the repair on a credit card. They pay interest for 3 months. They fall a little further behind. Person B wakes up. Same broken car, same $400 repair. They open a separate account, their emergency fund, with $2,000 sitting quietly inside. They transfer the money, fix the car, and by the end of the week, they have already started replacing what they spent. Same problem, completely different experience, completely different outcome. The difference is not income. The difference is preparation. An emergency fund does not grow fast. It does not feel exciting. It just sits there, waiting. And that waiting is exactly the point. Because life sends unexpected bills, broken things, job losses, health surprises. When that happens, the person without a safety net makes panic decisions. And panic decisions with money are almost always expensive decisions. Without an emergency fund, every crisis becomes a debt. With one, every crisis becomes an inconvenience. That shift from crisis to inconvenience is one of the most powerful things money can do for you. Not luxury, not status, just a fund that lets you breathe when life gets hard. And here's something most people do not think about. Financial stress does not stay in the financial part of your life. It follows you. It sits in the back of your mind at dinner. It wakes you at 3 in the morning. It affects your relationships, your confidence, your ability to take smart risks. When you are always one emergency away from disaster, your whole life is lived in quiet fear. The emergency fund removes that fear, and when fear is gone, better decisions follow. The goal: 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. If your basic monthly needs cost $1,000, your target is between $3,000 and $6,000. That might feel large right now. Fine. Do not start with the target. Start with what feels real. $100 or $50. Move it into a separate account that you do not touch for daily spending. Name it something that reminds you what it is for. Emergency fund, safety net, peace of mind. Then build it slowly. Every month add something. Your calm, your confidence, your ability to plan for the future instead of panicking about today. Build the fund, protect it, let it protect you. Habit 5. Kill bad debt. There is a type of debt that feels like freedom and works like a trap. You walk into a store, you see something you want. You do not have the money, but there is a card in your wallet that says you can have it anyway. You tap, you walk out with the thing. You feel good. 1 month later, the bill arrives. You pay the minimum, the rest stays. Interest grows on the rest. Next month, you buy something else. Minimum payment again. The balance climbs. And slowly, without any single dramatic moment, You are paying a bank to own your future. This is consumer debt, one of the most effective wealth destroyers ever created. Simple math. A credit card balance of $2,000 at 20% interest with only minimum payments takes years to clear. You pay hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars in interest on top of the original amount. You are paying for money you already spent, money that is already gone. Broke people say buy now, pay later. Rich people say save now, buy free. That difference in thinking is worth everything. One important point: not all debt is bad. A mortgage on a home that builds value over time can be a smart tool. A loan to start a business that earns income can be intelligent. A student loan that leads to much higher earning power can be worth it. These can return more than they cost. But consumer debt, the credit card balance for clothes, gadgets, restaurant meals, things you used once and forgot, that debt returns nothing. It only costs money, time, mental energy, and financial freedom. So how do you eliminate it? Use the snowball method. List all your debts from smallest to largest. Pay the minimum on all of them. Then take any extra money each month and attack the smallest debt with everything you have. When it is gone, move that payment to the next debt, then the next. As each debt falls, your monthly freedom grows. And as your freedom grows, the next debt falls faster. The momentum builds. One by one, the chains come off. Some prefer attacking the highest interest debt first to save more money mathematically. That works too. Choose the method that keeps you moving. Consistency beats perfection. What matters most is the decision. The decision that consumer debt is not acceptable in your life anymore. That every purchase from now on is either paid in full or not purchased at all. Kill the debt. Free the future. Habit 5. Habit 6. Invest automatically. Two people, same age, same salary, same amount to invest. Person A waits. The timing never feels right. The market looks uncertain. They wait for things to settle. The market goes up. Now it feels too late. They wait for a drop. The drop looks scary. A year passes, then 2. Still waiting. Person B sets up an automatic transfer on the 1st of every month. Same amount every month, without thinking. Some months the market is up, some months down. They do not check, they do not react. They just let it run. 10 years later, person B has built something meaningful. Not because they were smarter, not because they timed anything perfectly, but because they were in the market while person A was watching from the outside. This is the power of automatic investing, and at the center of it is one of the most important forces in personal finance: compound interest. Here is how it works simply. You invest $100. It earns 10% in a year. Now you have 110. Next year, the 10% is calculated on 110, not 100. So you earn $11. Then the next year on 121. Then more again. Slow at first. So slow that most people give up before it becomes interesting. But after 10, 15, 20 years, compound interest becomes something close to remarkable. Your money earns money on the money it already earned, and it accelerates. The longer it runs, the faster it grows. It rewards one thing above everything else: time. Not intelligence, not market knowledge, not a large starting amount. Time. This is why starting today, even with a small amount, is always better than waiting. Every year you delay is a year of growth that cannot be recovered. The person who starts at 25 and the person who starts at 35 are not 10 years apart in outcome. The gap between them is enormous because growth accelerates as it compounds over the years. What does automatic investing look like? A regular transfer, monthly or weekly, into an investment account. Index funds are a simple, low-cost starting point that many financial experts recommend for everyday investors. You do not need to pick stocks. You do not need to watch markets daily. You buy a small piece of the broad market consistently and let time work. Remove the decision. Remove the emotion. Make it mechanical. Because when investing is automatic, you stop thinking about whether to invest this month. You stop waiting. The money moves before you can talk yourself out of it. Time in the market beats timing the market. Every time. Set it up today. Let it run. Then do the hardest part. Leave it alone. Habit 6, over time, builds more wealth than almost anything else. Habit 7, grow your income skills. Here is a truth the first 6 habits do not tell you. There is a ceiling to how much you can save. There is no ceiling to how much you can earn. If you earn $1,000 a month, you can save at most $1,000, probably much less. But if you earn $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, the gap you protect grows. The amount you invest grows. The speed at which wealth builds accelerates. Cutting costs matters, but it is a limited game. Growing your earning power is an unlimited game. This is habit 7, and it is one many people in personal finance overlook. They focus on budgets and savings rates, which are important. But they forget to say, you also need to become more valuable. When I say grow your income skills, I am not talking about working more hours. Trading more time for money is not the answer. Almost everyone who is financially stuck is already working hard. Hard work alone does not build wealth. Building valuable skills does. Here is the difference. When you trade time for money, your income has a hard limit. 24 hours in a day. You can only sell so many of them. When you stop, the income stops. Most people earn this way. And it keeps them on a treadmill that never ends. But when you build a skill that makes you more valuable, your income ceiling rises. The same hours of work produce more results, more value for the people who pay you. And more value means more money. What kinds of skills? First, communication. The ability to speak clearly, write well, and explain ideas in a way people understand is one of the highest value skills in any profession. The person who communicates clearly almost always earns more than the equally talented person who cannot. Second, digital skills. The world runs on technology. People who understand data, use digital tools well, and can automate or analyze are in demand in almost every field. You do not need to become a programmer, but real skill with the tools of your work is no longer optional. Third one, deep area of knowledge. Being known as the person who understands one thing better than almost anyone in your organization or industry is a powerful financial position. Specialists are harder to replace, and harder to replace means more negotiating power. Your skills are yours. They travel with you. They compound over time. Become more valuable. Earn more. Build faster. Habit 7. Habit 8. Refuse lifestyle inflation. Picture 2 colleagues, same company, same starting salary. Every 2 years, they both receive a 10% raise. Marcus celebrates each raise the same way. He upgrades something. First, raise a better apartment. Second, raise a newer car. Third, raise more restaurants, more travel, more subscriptions. His life gets more comfortable with every increase. He looks successful. Daniel does something different. Each time a raise arrives, he moves half of it into his investment account before he spends any of it. He keeps living roughly as he did before. Same apartment a while longer. Same car for years. From the outside, Daniel looks ordinary. 20 years later, Marcus earns well. He has always earned well. But his spending has always matched his income, sometimes past it. He has a comfortable life, but very little saved. If he lost his job tomorrow, he would be in serious trouble within 3 months. Daniel earns the same. But his investment account has been growing for 20 years, fed by every raise he refused to spend entirely. He does not need to work. He chooses to. The difference between needing to work and choosing to work is the difference between a cage and a life. The one who looked richer at 30 was stressed at 50. The one who looked ordinary at 30 was free at 50. This is lifestyle inflation, dangerous because it feels reasonable. Of course you should enjoy your success. Nobody is saying live without pleasure. Nobody is saying never upgrade anything. The point is proportion. The point is deciding before the raise arrives, before the bonus lands, what percentage goes forward and what percentage you enjoy today. If you do not decide in advance, the decision gets made for you by advertising, by social comparison, by the quiet pressure to match the lives of people around you. And that pressure, left unchecked, will consume every raise you ever receive. A simple rule many financially successful people use when income increases: save or invest at least 50% of the increase. Enjoy the other 50% however you like. You are not depriving yourself. You are making sure your future self receives a share of every improvement. And here is the long-term power of this. Your expenses stay low relative to your income, which means if you eventually stop working, the amount you need to maintain your life is manageable. You have not built a lifestyle that demands a large income to survive. You have built financial strength. The world will constantly show you things to buy, new versions of everything, better, faster, newer. The pressure to upgrade never stops. Your job is to be more intentional than the pressure. Refuse lifestyle inflation. Let your wealth grow as fast as your income. And one day, when others are still running to keep up with their own expenses, you will realize you stopped running a long time ago. Habit 8. Habit 9. Protect your circle. There is a saying that has been repeated so many times it has almost lost its meaning. But stay with me, because underneath the familiar words is something important. Show me your 5 closest friends, and I will show you your financial future. Most people hear this and think about ambition, about surrounding yourself with successful, driven people so their energy lifts you. That is part of it, but there is a more specific truth inside that idea, one most people never examine directly. The people closest to you shape your financial decisions every single day, not through big conversations, not through obvious pressure, through the quiet, constant influence of what is considered normal in your circle. If everyone around you spends freely, saving feels strange. If your group goes out every weekend, buys the latest things, and takes expensive trips, choosing not to do those things feels like missing out. The social pressure to spend is real. It is powerful. And it operates mostly below the level of conscious thought. On the other side, if your circle talks about investing and building, those conversations become normal. Saving feels like what adults do. Living below your means feels like discipline, not deprivation. Your environment is always shaping you. The question is whether it is shaping you toward wealth or away from it. I want to be careful here. This is not about becoming cold. It is not about cutting off old friends. Relationships are not calculations. Loyalty, love, and shared history matter enormously. What I am saying is this: be intentional. Notice which relationships push you toward your goals and which ones consistently pull you away from them. Notice which conversations leave you inspired and which ones leave you spending money you do not have on things you do not need to impress people you do not deeply care about. And then quietly begin adding relationships with people who build. Find one person in your life who reads about investing. Find one person working seriously toward financial independence. Find a community, online or in person, where money is discussed honestly and constructively. These connections do not need to replace your existing friendships. They just need to exist. Because even one relationship with someone intentional about money can shift how you think. There is also something worth naming directly. Some people in our lives, people we genuinely love, consistently cost us money. Lending that never returns. Social obligations we cannot afford. Guilt about our financial choices. This is a real and painful part of many people's financial lives, especially in cultures where responsibility to family and community runs deep. There is no simple answer, but awareness helps. Knowing the cost of certain patterns, not to resent them, but to plan honestly around them, is part of living as a real person in a real world. Your circle is not just a social choice. It is a financial one. Protect it thoughtfully. Add to it intentionally. Choose your co-authors carefully. Habit 9. Habit 10. Play the long game. Two kinds of people want to get rich. The first kind wants to get rich fast. They are looking for the opportunity, the hot investment, the business that takes off in 6 months, the shortcut that skips the slow middle and arrives directly at the destination. They are impatient with small progress. They want big results and they want them soon. The second kind wants to get rich slowly. They are not looking for shortcuts. They are looking for systems. They invest consistently in things they understand. They save every month without drama. They make boring, predictable financial decisions year after year. They do not make headlines. They are not exciting. But here is what happens over time. The people who tried to get rich fast mostly failed. Some lost everything in bad investments. Some were caught by schemes that promised fast returns. Some made real money quickly, then lost it just as fast, because the habits that build lasting wealth were never developed. Easy money rarely stays, and the people who chased it often ended up further behind than when they started. The people who played the long game built something different, something solid, something that grew year after year until it became genuinely life-changing. Not because they were lucky, because they understood one truth about wealth. Wealth is not built in moments. It is built in decades. The mathematics of long-term investing are hard to argue with. A person who invests a modest amount each month for 30 years in a simple, broad investment fund earning average market returns will almost certainly retire with more money than they imagined when they started. Not because of brilliant choices, not because of timing, simply because of time. This is why starting matters so much. Every year you delay is a year of growth that cannot be recovered. The person who starts at 25 and the person who starts at 35 are not 10 years apart in outcome. The gap between them is enormous, because growth accelerates as it compounds over the years. But here's what makes the long game hard. It is boring. For years, sometimes many years, the results feel small. The account grows slowly. Nothing dramatic happens. And in that boredom, people quit. They move money into something more exciting. They stop contributing. They break the system. And the growth stops. The greatest threat to long-term wealth is not market crashes. It is impatience. Markets go up and markets go down. They always have. But the long-term direction of a healthy, broad investment in the global economy has historically moved upward. The people who stayed in through the crashes, who did not panic, who held on and kept going, came out ahead of those who did not, every time. Staying in is the strategy. Consistency is the strategy. Boredom is the strategy. And here is what the long game gives you that nothing else can. Options. The person who has spent 20 years quietly building can choose to stop working, can choose to take a risk on something new, can choose to help the people they love. They are not at the mercy of a paycheck or an employer or any single event. Freedom is the compound interest of patience. The get-rich-slow story is quiet but almost guaranteed. Available to anyone who chooses it and stays. Keep going, month after month, year after year. Do not stop. The long game is the only game that reliably wins. Habit 10. 10 habits. Pay yourself first. Track every dollar. Spend less than you earn. Build your emergency fund. Kill bad debt. Invest automatically. Grow your income skills. Refuse lifestyle inflation. Protect your circle. Play the long game. a lifetime of results. But here is what I need you to hear before you close this video. You do not need all 10 today. Do not try to change everything at once. That is a path to feeling overwhelmed doing nothing and forgetting this lesson existed by next week. That is not what I want for you. Here is what I want instead. Pick one, just one habit from this list, the one that spoke to you most directly. The one where you felt that small, uncomfortable recognition, that feeling of, yes, that is me, that is my problem. That is the habit you start with. That is the one that matters right now. Maybe it is habit 1. Maybe you have never truly paid yourself first. Maybe every month you save what is left, which is nothing. Tonight you are going to set up an automatic transfer for next payday. Even $50, even $20. Just start. Maybe it is habit 5. The credit card balance has been sitting there for months, charging you interest. Tonight, you are going to write down exactly what you owe and begin the plan to eliminate it. Maybe it is habit 6. You have been waiting for the right moment to invest. Tonight, you are going to stop waiting. Set something up, however small. One habit, one step. Today. Not Monday, not next month. Today. The person who starts one habit today and keeps it will barely recognize their financial life in 5 years. The person who does nothing will be in the same place, still waiting. Do not be the second person. Now I have a question for you. Which of these 10 habits are you starting today? Tell me in the comments. Write it down. Making a commitment out loud, even to people you have never met, makes you more likely to follow through. So write it. I read every comment. If this lesson helped you, share it with someone who needs it. A friend who is struggling with money, a younger brother or sister just starting out, a colleague who never talks about finances but probably should. This kind of information changes lives when it reaches the right person at the right moment. Keep listening every day, and your English and your wallet will both grow. I will see you in the next lesson. Now go start habit 1.